In a small village surrounded by quiet hills and wide skies, there lived a man named Elliot. He was not young, nor particularly old. He had soft eyes, calloused hands, and a voice that carried the calm of someone who had spent many years listening to the wind. Elliot lived alone in a modest wooden house at the edge of the village. Every evening, when the sun dipped low and shadows stretched across the fields, Elliot would walk up the hill behind his home with a small satchel made of faded blue cloth. Inside the bag were seeds, not of trees or flowers, but of something far more unusual. Stars. No one knew where he got them. Some said they fell from the sky, and he caught them in jars. Others believed he carved them from moonlight. Elliot never explained. He simply smiled, nodded politely, and went on with his work. The children of the village often followed him at a distance, giggling and whispering behind trees. But Elliot never minded. He would kneel down at the top of the hill, press his hand into the earth, and plant a single glowing seed. Then he would wait. And the children would watch in awe as, slowly, a small light would emerge from the soil. Sometimes it was pale white, like winter frost. Other times it glowed orange, like embers from a fire. Occasionally the stars shimmered blue or violet, and once even green. By the time Elliot returned home, the hill behind his house was twinkling. "Why do you plant stars?" a curious child once asked him. Elliot had smiled and replied, "Because some darkness can't be chased away. It must be lit from within." The villagers began to notice that on the nights Elliot planted, sleep came easier, dreams were gentler, arguments faded faster. The old dog that used to bark at the moon slept soundly, and the cranky baker laughed more often. But Elliot didn't plant every night. Some evenings he simply sat by his window, watching the stars he'd already planted. One winter Elliot fell ill. The village doctor came and went. The neighbors brought soup and bread. The children left drawings on his porch. But the hill grew dim. Weeks passed, and the village grew worried. One night, a brave little girl named Nia decided to climb the hill with her friends. She carried Elliot's faded blue satchel, which she had found near his porch. Inside were 3 glowing seeds. She knelt just as she'd seen Elliot do. She planted the first. And waited. A flicker. A glow. A star. The children gasped. They planted the other 2, then went home, filled with warmth. The next night, more children came. Then parents. Then the teacher. The baker. The fisherman. One by one, each planted a star. The hill bloomed again, not just with light, but with memory, with care, with love. And in his little wooden house, Elliot smiled in his sleep. He woke a few days later, weaker but at peace. When the children visited, he took Nia's hand and said, "The stars are safe now." Years later, Elliot passed on as all stories do. But the hill did not dim. Instead, the village made it a tradition. Every evening someone young or old would climb the hill and plant a star. They used Elliot's seeds, which never seemed to run out. And sometimes, on especially clear nights, people claimed they saw new stars above matching the ones below. No one knew if it was true. But no one doubted it either. Because Elliot had shown them something important. That even in the darkest night, someone somewhere could plant a little light. And that was enough to keep the whole world glowing.